Patricia, thank you very much for joining us. And
Thanks for having me.
no worries. And so today I wanted to actually focus in on something that you call your concierge method. But before we go into that, just to introduce Patricia to our viewers. So she was born in and raised in the beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina, and she moved to Toronto in 2003 with her family. Her interest in real estate began when she started working in commercial real estate as a CPA MBA for big corporations such as Brookfield and Colliers. And as a controller, she was involved in many transactions, realizing the potential of investing in real estate. And on a personal level, she also owned multiple Toronto and international properties, and having a passion, her passion, meet success, naturally pushed her into the real estate industry as a real estate agent and broker now. Having started in the industry in 2017, she's now a proud member of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services West Realty team, and combining her financial expertise and passion for real estate and design. Her mission now is to provide a comprehensive service focusing on helping people find the best solution, not only that makes sense for them financially, but also maximizes their equity and wealth creation potential on their properties. And she also offers international real estate services with listings all over the world. And I know now people are looking forward to traveling, so why not get that property in your dreams, right? So thank you very much, Patricia, for joining us.
Thank you again, and good morning to everybody.
So just to kind of go back to the topic that I had mentioned earlier, the concierge method that you had. So this is a personal method that you've kind of constructed to be able to help your clients walk through the whole property of moving up to a new property. So going through the whole complexities of having to sell a property and buy a property. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, for sure. During our life, we moved so many times, and we discover that from our own pain that it's not an easy task when you own a home already and you decide that home is not servicing you anymore or your family, and you need to move to a new one. So there are so many pieces that come together, like if you sell first, buy first, which are the motivations, discovering what is the best option for the family, and even discovering what the whole family thinks about moving to a new home, because not obviously if we are 4 or 5, the more we are, the more ideas we have. So even getting to get together as a family and have a priority list, and then executing a plan financially, moving pieces almost also physically. So I decided to design and to focus on families because naturally it becomes my expertise, not only as a realtor, but also as a human being. So I have a holistic view for my career. I treat my clients as family, and I really feel for them when they have to make a decision, not only when moving from one home to the other, even investing. I provide all my knowledge and all my different expertise as financial or even real estate knowledge in the areas. But in this case in particular, I wanted to help people also in the psychology behind a move, which is great because moving our life from one place to the other means that every day we can feel differently, obviously, because our bodies and minds are attached to the place we live. Now we have to feel really great in the place we live, and we have to feel that we belong to that place. So there is a huge process, and I developed 5 steps to make the life of my clients easier. And I call it concierge method because I try to take as much as possible from their plates during the process. So the 5 steps are as follows. So the step 1 is getting clarity and goal setting. Step 2 is the real search. Step 3, preparing their listing. Step 4, showing and selling. And step 5, the closing. The step 1 is one of the most important steps in the whole process because it's all about getting together and really understanding our needs and wants and what is nice to have. So when you go into the market, we can see which kind of property is the best that ticks most of the boxes, because obviously it's almost impossible. We hope, but it's very difficult to tick all the boxes when you go and purchase a property. So you have to have the idea of what is really, really a priority for the family, or what we can build during time, maybe add a new washroom or even add new windows, different things that can be done during the time instead of just purchasing a property that is perfect at that time. So we sit with all the family many, many times in that process. We go over even the areas that would be the best, because if they have kids, they may want to move into an area that have better schools, or they want to move closer to family. So basically we have to discover the motivations behind the move, and to make it clear that why we are moving and where we have to go to improve their situation. With that goes together the financial side. Is when many times where we work together to get them to understand which are their possibilities and which is really what is available for them financially, and especially in this market, which is so competitive. And so some people may decide to sell a home they have prepared to buy a fixer-upper, but they also have to have enough money to make the changes that are super necessary for them to move into the property. So it is a very important step, because we go over with the couple and the kids, and even sometimes even extended family. I end up meeting a lot of people during that time, because we meet many times before we go and do the second step, which is the real search.
Definitely.
When
And,
we
you
go,
know what, Patricia,
yes.
just to kind of touch in on that point, the concierge method, one of the main reasons that I wanted to even highlight this whole thing was you take a very, like you said, holistic approach to it, and kind of using your history with the whole CPA background to make sure that all the financials and the financial goals are taken into account, as well as the personal goals as well. And what you're doing actually in step 1, that really hones in on that and focuses on the planning aspect of it to make sure that, you know what, everything that they actually want and need are accounted for. And you know what, even if they don't have the perfect ensuite bathroom right now, you can at least go over those and discuss with them, because you have that history of personally investing in real estate and doing upgrades and all that. You can actually give them that proper advice to, you know what, hey, it might not be the perfect home right now, but this is pretty much as we can get, and also get it for an amazing price, instead of having to go for something where everything is already done and you can just do a small few upgrades to get it to that level without having to pay that price, right? And that planning and that full picture that you kind of encompass and you bring to the table, I honestly love, and that's kind of why I love working with you. So I really like that aspect, that you take that time to as much time as you do to focus in on that planning aspect. So sorry, sorry I cut you off, but
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Well, and the important thing is that I love to see homes are staged and beautiful, but opportunities sometimes lay on the homes that need some work. And because I work, well, my son is also an architect, and I work with a team of people that can add value on the project side, and I give my clients the glasses to see the potential of the homes, because obviously we are used to see beautiful homes, all staged, perfect, and super nice. But sometimes those homes, obviously, the expectation of price for the sellers is super high, and they get a lot of offers. So we get into a very bidding war that is hard for my clients, because you have to pay sometimes for the property what is even higher to the real value today of the property. So I really like when my clients can see the potential. So I help them see farther than the station, or farther than the situation of the property today. There are many properties that need a little bit of love, and those are the opportunities there. So many of my clients decided to go that way, because also it's fun for the family to be able to give their personal touch to the homes. Some properties are better than others, because the layout is also very important in the houses. Some layouts are difficult to change, or the state of the state of the home in general. But I normally, yes.
That actually puts your client in a really good, that builds a foundation, right? To go into like the step 2, where it's about the actual search. You're searching with a crisp vision of what it is that you want and how you can get there, as opposed to just blindly just look at every single home and not really know what you want, or just, oh, I like this for this or that for that. But like you were saying, if you know foundationally what's good to have and what things can be changed, the small changes that you can make, and you can make cheap, for a low cost, and you can make them easily. You can weigh in your opinion based on your experience as to how to go into that search and start looking at homes, right? And that's where step 2, you're kind of building that foundation with step 1 and naturally transitioning into step 2, which is
exactly, yeah,
great. Yeah.
And in the stage 2, which is the real search, so I start sending, based on our conversations, I start sending listings, which I may change periodically as we go into the conversations, and they give me their feedback on the homes they are looking at, or different areas, because we don't get stuck in one area only. I try to get my clients to consider a couple of different areas, so we have more an open mind looking at properties, until we narrow our search and find the homes that really tick their boxes, and we go and visit them when we start visiting in person the homes. And that's when they have to have their vibe and saying, yeah, I see myself living in this home. Although I have to paint, I have to do a new washroom or something like this. And doing work in a home is the way to create more equity, because they are building something in a home that is not there when they purchase, but if they eventually sell again, they will have that value created into the property that they put that into. So it's also a way to see things financially, not only in a way that, and I had a situation where a client, again, not so long ago, bought a real fixer-upper. It was a huge gut job, but we compare. He bought a home for $1,350,000, and the homes that were all done compared to what he bought was 1.8 million here in the area in Hyde Park. So basically, he is adding the 400 or so, but he's already making that gap, and also saving in land transfer tax, because when he bought, he paid land transfer tax for that lower price. If he bought the house that was 1.8, already closing costs, everything was proportional to that higher value home, interest. So there are so many things that you have to consider, and sometimes it's not so drastic, the difference in prices or what you have to do when you don't have to do a full job in a house. But yeah, that's the idea behind. So after we go, and I don't rush my clients to make decisions, sometimes we look for months, and especially in this market, And then at the end of the game, we find the home that we put an offer and we get the home for them. And after that, we already secure the home. And I normally, especially in a seller's market, I tell my clients to buy first because it's more difficult to buy than to sell a property. When you already secure your new home, then is when I get to the step 3, which is preparing the home for listing. And that comes into place with my painters. If we had to do some touch-ups to the kitchen or washroom to try to have the higher value for their property too. And I help them move temporarily for the showings, because it's, especially if you have kids, you don't want the kids to be in the house and moving them around when they have the showings. And it's important, if you are going to show the home for a week or 10 days, it's important that the family is in a safe place and you can show without limitations the home. So, and you know, it takes a full set of different people and different type of work. As I said, painters, sometimes, you know, a contractor doing a washroom, or some fix-ups that we have to do, small things that they may not see in every day, but to put the best light in their home until it's really ready for the showcase, which is my step 4, no? So when we are totally ready, I bring my photographer, videographer, and I have very high quality photography and videography, and also the printed media, and I do social postings everywhere, and especially with my brokerage, we have an international exposure. So whenever I have a listing, not only myself, I'm advertising my listing, but it's going through all the network, which is around the world. So I had, my last showing had 80 showings in 1 week, which is incredible because it was less than a week actually. And they were back to back because it's seen everywhere. I post in all the social media, I post videos in YouTube, I do printed media in the neighborhood and even in different, my realtors. Right now we cannot do open houses, but we do virtual open houses, and we invite our colleagues to see the property. We do email blasting. So in terms of marketing, we don't have really a parallel on what we do, because actually Berkshire in Toronto is basically a marketing company selling real estate. That's what we do best, is the marketing side as a brokerage. And when we get the offer date, then we accept the best offer, which I also educate my clients that the best offer is not always the higher price. We have to also qualify the buyer, and also knowing which are the conditions of each offer. And sometimes, you know, the closing dates are so important, and as important as the price. So, and the communication, my communication with my colleagues, the cooperating agents helping the buyers is very important too. And I pay myself for home inspection. So when they come with an offer, it's an unconditional offer. And we go through all the details. I'm available all the time for the brokers. And for any questions, even my clients get anxious and ask me, how is it going? How many views? And I do a spreadsheet. As an accountant, I love spreadsheets. So I keep the views and how many visits we had, and you know, the feedback of the prospect buyers. So I keep the communication going all the time until the day of the offer. And then we accept the offer, which we, last times we had to do a Zoom meeting. We couldn't do in person, but you know, normally in a normal world, I would do a meeting with my clients. And after we accept the offer, I go with them until the closing of both properties. And again, there is a financial also component on the closing, because sometimes you need a bridge loan between one and the other, because they are not, it's very strange that you have the same day both transactions. Yeah. It could happen, but it's not common. Mm-hmm. And finally, at the closing, comes the move, and I offer my clients a service that I pay myself as a gift also to them, that is called Move Snap, that helps them move all the services, all they need to move is another concierge service, particular for the move. So they do all the utilities, Canada Post, documents, the driver license, everything. They help them move from one house to the other, and they help them getting movers too, and many other things that we help them get to be ready to move out from one property to the other and to settle in the new home. And finally, we celebrate, and I may bring a gift, and we may share a drink or something like this, depending on the client. And for me, it's my satisfaction. No?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I really love how you help them find the right property right off the bat, and once that's secured. Because especially right now, considering the current times that we're in with that whole seller's market dynamic, you want to have that property secured. But as soon as you do that, the clock's ticking, right? And there's not a lot of room for mistake. And that's why I think working with someone like you, where you have all the boxes to check off, to do, have a handyman do the small repairs, to have painters, make the house look good, do the home staging, all that stuff. Everything happens just back to back and pretty much on time, so that it doesn't cause any huge delays or any unfinished projects or anything like that that could potentially affect the sale of that home too, right? And causing even more delays with the closing and all that. So just having all that done, it's so much more stress-free when having someone like you actually coordinate all those moving parts and making sure that everything goes smoothly, because that's a lot of things to juggle, especially if you have a full-time job, you have family, you have kids, their school, all that stuff that kind of comes in as well, right? So definitely I can see a lot of detail that goes into what you're doing. And that's definitely something that I wanted to at least share with my community as well, so that, people understand the true value of working with a professional like yourself. So thanks a lot for taking the time to at least share this with the audience, right?
My pleasure, my pleasure. And anytime I'm open to questions, and you know me, I'm always try to make myself available for any questions, even no obligation, but it's nice to meet each other at any time for anybody asking me any question.
For sure. I'll throw your contact details in the description, so that anyone could feel free to actually reach out and just at least touch base to, to see if they're comparing apples to apples, if they're working with someone or looking to actually go into this journey. They want to be well informed and see what the differences are in terms of, what they're getting for the type of professional that they're working with. So thanks a lot, Patricia.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.